Hey everybody, I'm no lady, I'm a duck. I'm Mike, that's Tommy.
Hello, everyone.
That's Kevin.
Hey yo.
Welcome to the Quiet Day Podcast and Definitive Mighty Ducks Podcast. Don't want to waste any time. We talked about this last week in our quest to acquire the Mighty Ducks rights. Our step one was to go to Joyce, OG Quacklight, senior editor of Gold Derby, actual reporter, unlike me. Knows
no longer.
yeah, knows things that I don't. So, Joyce, first of all, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me once again. So it's an honor. I don't know if it can actually get you the rights, but I can probably provide more information.
We're looking for the roadmap.
Yeah, I could probably help you with that.
Okay.
So.
And this is Joyce's first time on the pod where she didn't win a contest to be on the pod. Is that correct? Am I right in that?
I don't know.
Well, you were a judge for.
Oh yeah, I did judge.
Okay.
Yeah, Quack Court. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or a part of a contest.
Yeah.
So this is like actual Joyce.
I'm the subject of the interview now.
Joyce is no longer playing a character.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I will mention Joyce wearing the Originals t-shirt and fitting us in. Gold Derby, if you don't know, very heavy focus on award shows and predicting and that kind of stuff. Was it Golden Globes were yesterday? I always get the Golden Globes and Oscars, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, Golden Globes back on TV this year. It was yesterday, Tuesday. They were off the air last year because of their whole controversy when they were exposed for having no Black members. So
yeah, not a good time. But
yeah.
Yeah, anything we should know from what happened yesterday that is going to be part of the pop culture
At the Globes?
Yeah.
Well, awards wise, Banshees of Inisherin did well. Won 3. Everything Everywhere All at Once, and The Fabelmans won 2. So those are pretty much like the top 3 for the Oscars for Best Picture. Nothing truly surprising in the acting categories, like Best Actors really between Austin Butler and Colin Farrell, and they each won last night. Actress Cate Blanchett and Michelle Yeoh, they both won last night. Supporting actors locked for Ke Huy Quan from Everything Everywhere. Supporting actress is really the only one up in the air. Angela Bassett won last night for Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. And so she could be the first person to win an acting Oscar for a Marvel film. Because DC has acting Oscar winners already with Heath Ledger and Joaquin Phoenix. So
it's weird that like an Irish horror movie about banshees is doing so well. Did that surprise
well, I mean,
you?
I was going to say something, but I don't want to spoil it if no one's seen Banshees.
No, I'm just going off the title.
Yeah. All right.
Great film though. Great donkey in the film.
Great donkey, and that is a good tease.
Yeah, there's a lot of donkeys this Oscar season.
Interesting.
An international film called EO also stars a donkey. So.
Wow.
So like on the scale of, I was just going to say on the scale of like Shrek donkey.
Oh. I think, well, it's not, Jenny the donkey in Banshees is not as funny as Shrek the donkey. Also, Eddie Murphy got the Cecil B. DeMille Award last night and made a great Will Smith joke.
Oh, I did see that.
I heard the joke, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was good.
So is this a way to just say there's a lot of jackasses this year?
Oh.
Yes, yeah. But sadly, Jackass Forever is not really in the running.
Yeah, that's do you know so the award process, or is essentially someone at like, who is tasked with like nominating? Because obviously it's like, oh, I see something, I can't say, you know what, I'm going to write a letter and say you should nominate this person for Best Actor. How does that process work for Golden Globe, SAG, and Oscars? I guess, would you call those the big 3 for movies?
Yes. But the Globes are not the industry. So the voting body for the Globes are the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. So it's international journalists, basically, the foreign press. So they've tried to reform since they were exposed. So they used to have just like 98 members, no Black members, obviously. So now they've overhauled it, and they've also added 100 more non-members with voting privileges. So that was the new group this year for the SAG awards. So it's SAG after the group. So SAG is the actors, the voting body. AFTRA is like radio people, like DJs, also influencers now. So they merged into one union like 10 years ago. Yeah, I know. So for the nomination phase, there's the TV nomcom and the film nomcom, and it's like around like 2,000 people, and they pick the nominees. But then the entire body gets to vote for the winners, which is like 160,000 people. And then for the Oscars, you have to be a member of AMPAS. So altogether, there's like 9,000 members in AMPAS, and they, since like Oscars So White, like 7 years ago when they were not exposed, but like, you know, they didn't really nominate a lot of non-white actors. So they've been trying to aggressively diversify their membership. So they used to just be around like 7,000, 6,000 members. And now in the past like 6 years, they've hit almost like 10,000 members. So
are you one of these 10,000 people?
No, I don't vote for any of these. I know people, I know one SAG voters, because like a lot of SAG voters, like I think people think of them as just like famous actors, but it's just, you know, any actor who has like a credit or enough credits to get a SAG card, so they could be struggling actors. So I know someone in SAG. And then there's other award shows like Critics' Choice Awards. I know people in that. So the only voting body I'm part of is TCA, which is why I'm in LA right now, the Television Critics Association. But like those awards aren't until the summer, so they have nothing to do with the Oscars.
So you mentioned influencers for SAG. Is that the one?
Yeah.
So, you know, I could argue that we're influencers.
It's true.
Could we get in?
Yeah, I think you would have to look up how to you know, the criteria to apply for membership into SAG-AFTRA.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
well, I think we should also be doing that while we're also trying to acquire the rights to
Smart.
yeah.
Mighty
Oh, and
Ducks.
I'll also add I guess 2 years ago now, for TCA, I voted for the Mighty Ducks Game Changers for a new program. It did not get nominated, which was expected. So
fair enough. All
That's
right.
like the Hall of Fame vote where someone writes in a guy who they cover their whole career, just kind of as a hat tip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. All right. As you can tell, Joyce, very knowledgeable. I will say, for me, not in the game, reached out to Steve Brill. He politely declined my interview request regarding a possible season 3 and if he wanted to come on for season 2. So, Joyce,
We miss you, Brill.
Joyce, you know people, you hear things. What are you hearing about, you know, the way this season was received and a possible, you know, season 3?
I don't know. What do you want to start with? Like season 2 itself, or
Sure.
season 2 itself?
Well,
Or-
what
yeah.
if we back off a little, like back up?
Okay.
Season 1, you know, it's greenlit for a season 2. We know there were also some changes at Disney. So what happens kind of between season 1 and season 2 that maybe make things a little bit difficult?
I think I mean, obviously there's the trade-off of the Bobs, or the Bob Chapek replaced Bob Iger. Bob Iger's been trying to retire for years, and he just kept, you know, pulling him back in. He's back in now. But also between season 1 and season 2, obviously the biggest thing was Emilio leaving.
Mm-hmm.
So what I know about that is that obviously after it was picked up, I think so a season 2 renewal was I wouldn't say always expected, but it was, you know, they were feeling good about it, and obviously it happened. And so once you're picked up, you open the writer's room like for pre-production to break the season, and that's what happened. And then obviously the news broke in November 2021 that he was exiting the show. So then they had to basically scrap what they were planning for the season because they've already been writing.
Mhm.
And then come up with I don't even know if they had to come up with a contingency plan because I'm just completely speculating here. I feel like, behind the scenes, they probably knew like there were issues there with him and like if he were going to come back or not. And they were probably just hopeful it would all work out, that he would come back.
I think maybe someone was like, well, I've got an outline just in case.
Yeah, probably more like that. And then it's like, oh, we actually have to go through with this now once he left. So yeah.
So we knew season 2 was always going to be, when we kind of get the Emilio news, like this is going to be very interesting and it could be very rough. Season 2 comes out. We know what the Quackalites think. We know what we think. Joyce, what do was anyone talking about this, or is it just kind of like industry folks, their reaction might have been similar to ours?
So I would say the show is not very high profile, which I don't think is shocking to anyone. So like even season 1, I think it was just, like the Quackalites, like people of our generation who were into it. It wasn't like, like a Marvel series. It wasn't like WandaVision or anything, or
Right.
Mandalorian, excuse me. But I would say for season 1, they definitely promoted it a lot more. They had a TCA panel for it. It was virtual, but like Emilio was part of it, Lauren, Brill, Josh and Kathy, the showrunners. And the promo for season 2 was very quiet. And there was also the report that, the show costs a lot of money to make, and obviously there's also a COVID protocols that adds to the expense, but the production was moved from Vancouver to LA for season 2. And then, the promo was very quiet for season 2 because it premiered in September. And then for summer TCA last summer in August, for like Disney Plus Day, they had like a whole sizzle reel, and it was barely featured in the sizzle reel. It was like a split second of them like in front of the RV, and that's it. So, and then obviously no panel, but that was less surprising because they usually just do it for new shows or like huge hits. And I also don't think they wanted to be answering the questions about Emilio.
So I think if you were placing bets between or before season 2, your bet would be this is probably not something that is going to get a lot of buzz, and also not something that kind of engages like the first season. Are there any other factors that are going into it? I know there's like the streaming business. What's up with what's going on now? Like, what is it? This is not just the Game Changers' fault. Is there like streaming issues kind of industry wide?
Yeah, I think like streaming has sort of hit its ceiling. Like, Netflix is in the red too. Might add like an ad-supported tier and all this stuff. I think it's because streaming, the whole business model is built on subscribers. It's like that's all they want. And like Netflix in particular they're just churning out content. A lot of shows and movies you've never heard of, and they just bury on their site, and I think like for Disney's Plus specifically, I think their money makers are obviously Marvel and Star Wars. And this is like pretty much like Ducks is like a nostalgia play for them. And they brought Bob Iger back in November to take over for Bob Chapek, who no one liked, but everyone loves Bob Iger. Chapek was also the one who, with like the Don't Say Gay controversy. So that's why a lot of people don't like him at Disney. And I think, like Bob Iger's job now is to make streaming profitable again for them. And I don't think keeping Ducks might be the answer for them. Like, unless they're gonna, make or like cut the budget basically again and make drastic changes. Like I feel like it's probably not going to come back for third season,
So
which I don't think
would-
it's surprising to anyone. I think that's kind of, if you watch the season, even the storylines this season, I think it's like, it feels kind of finite.
Yeah, fair enough.
Do you, if you, and obviously this is pure speculation, but what would you think would happen if Emilio tomorrow said, I'll do it. I'll do season 3. Do you think that would even have a chance to rescue it?
I don't know, maybe, like, that's something I do think about. I'm like, I wonder what season 2 would have been had he never left, right? I don't know if it would have been that much bigger than it was, but I do think there would have been more interest. They probably could have done different things, like maybe they could have just gotten Joshua Jackson back, and they could have done something with that storyline. So there would definitely be more, I think if that had happened, there would be more press about it, obviously. But yeah, like even the finale, it felt like it was written to double as a series finale.
Yeah, I agree with that. They sort of let everyone go on their separate ways, where I thought, Jace and Josh Duhamel were going to somehow join up. But obviously we talked about Emilio. Can you say anything, and do you know anything about the search and like how Josh Duhamel ended up there? Like, do you know anything about contacting former Ducks and like how that whole process played out?
I think they wanted, I think like Josh Jackson was like their white whale. Like they wanted him, like even just for like a guest appearance, so I don't know how far it got into asking him to be a regular. I'm just speculating that they probably did try to go for that. But I feel like they probably just thought it would be, so I didn't expect him to be a series regular, because I don't think he just has the time for that. Like I think the most he would do is a guest appearance, and it was very funny last year. It was like a day apart that like Josh Duhamel casting was announced and Josh Jackson's casting on Fatal Attraction was announced. Yeah. It's like, so I like, he's a busy guy, so I don't think he would have signed on as a series regular anyway, if that's what they pitched him. So obviously the guest appearance didn't work out. And I guess it also doesn't really make sense for her to come back if Bombay is not there too.
Right.
So how much do we think some like PA just fucked up terribly and accidentally contacted Josh Duhamel instead of Josh Jackson?
Like typed in Josh and clicked the first one.
Yeah, and just be like, Josh Duhamel's here to talk about Mighty Ducks.
Like, no, just Josh. Just Josh is here.
Yeah.
That would be incredible.
I mean, maybe. So I don't know. I also know there was a lot of debate as to how to write out Bombay.
I didn't even bother doing it. Like that was like a one-liner, and they just were done with it. Like, do you think they did that to leave it open for a possibility of return?
I think they did. I think they did it to leave it open in case, there is if they thought like there's a chance he could come back if there was a season 3, because the season is like pretty much a standalone season.
Right.
If there's a season 3, you don't even have to watch season 2.
Right.
And I would say you don't ever have to watch season 2.
Yeah.
Just
like they're all
that's a
going
standalone
home.
Line. You don't have to watch season 2.
Tommy's going in.
But no, it's so I guess they are leaving like the character open. It's like you don't want to kill off
like
the character.
They didn't kill him off. So I think, and it was just like they just had to leave Minnesota for the season, so it was like an easy way to write him out for the season. And if there's a season 3, they'll just be back in the renovated Ice Palace. And presumably he would still be there. So I think they were just maybe holding out hope that if there's a season 3 and he were to come back somehow, they could still write toward that storyline. But yeah, I know like there was like a lot of debate about that. And I think like I think they ultimately went with Josh Duhamel or like a new character just because of like the standalone season. It's like, so there's fewer ties to the core group. And I also think they want the show to stand on its own and not be so connected to the films.
Yeah, and this is something I've said is like you could just call this Game Changers season 2. You don't need Mighty Ducks in there. This could have been a standalone show, which is it was set up to fail. Really, to be honest, like we're gonna give season 2 grief, rightfully so. But at the same time, we do need to acknowledge that they weren't playing with a full deck. They had to obviously scramble, and this is what we got. But if season 3 doesn't happen, and we don't expect it to, the characters are still alive. They haven't killed off any ducks except for Hans. So, Joyce, the task at hand is now, what's it going to take for us to potentially acquire, the rights, licenses to produce Mighty Ducks content for profit?
So I think you would need to come up with a platform on which you would air the show, because that's what you want to do, right?
Sounds cheap.
All right, so claymation.
Okay. But I mean, you could just launch the Quack Attack streaming service. You could just be the team streaming service.
Right. So like it wouldn't make, so if we somehow did this and said, hey, we're somehow making this, and we said, Disney, do you want this? You think they'd say no? Or Netflix or Peacock or whoever else?
I think you would need to have your own streaming service on which to air it, because I don't think they would give it to you for you to sell it to another service, because they could just do that themselves. So okay, so here just some background, since you guys were talking about Scrubs last week and it's moved from NBC to ABC. So the thing with all these moves, there's a difference between the network on which a show airs and the production company behind it. So the production company is the one footing the bill. They're the one actually making the show. So sometimes like a network has an in-house production company. So like ABC has like ABC Studios and like some various other ones. And so Scrubs was produced by ABC. I think back then it was still Touchstone, but still under like Disney and everything. And NBC canceled it around the writer's strike in like 2008. So ABC still has the rights to it. So, and it was actually like a huge fight back then, because they were saying like, oh no, you can't move yet or whatever. But it was like easy for ABC to pick it up because it's an in-house show. Like their production studio produced it. So that's called vertical integration in the biz. And then that's also like what happened with Brooklyn Nine-Nine, because that's produced by NBC Universal and NBC didn't pick it up. And they sold it to Fox. So it aired on Fox. And then Fox, after a couple seasons, was like, we're going to cancel it. And then Bob Greenblatt, who was the NBC president at the time, and he was like, oh, I fucked up back then. I should have never sold Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So since you guys canceled it, we'll pick it up. So it ended up on NBC for the last couple seasons. So Game Changers is produced by ABC Signature.
Okay.
So if they don't want it, they could just sell it to like Netflix or whoever, because that's a direct line for them. So I don't know if they will want to have you as a third party to sell it to Netflix or Amazon or something. Like they would just want to sell it to you for you to do something with it yourselves, to air it somewhere yourselves.
Got it. So we would have to be the Netflix or the NBC in this scenario. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so launch your own streaming platform.
Got it.
Mike is looking for a new career. Ballpark dollar figure. What would you put that at?
To launch a streaming service?
No, to buy the rights.
I don't know. I don't know how much Disney values the ducks. That's the thing.
It's like nothing.
I really don't know.
Like basically, it's can we buy the rights to make more Ducks
Yeah,
content.
like we want the intellectual property and possibly the logos for merchandising purposes. Like if it's not necessarily like the movies and the TV series, Disney can have that. It's just like the future stuff. Is that easier to do?
So you don't want the old stuff. You just want.
We would want to be able to make new content with those characters without being sued.
Yeah, obviously, if you're going to give us the old stuff, that'd be great. But creating the streaming platform has now opened my eyes that we might be a little out of the realm of possibility.
Basically, if I show them my McKill script, is that as easy as it is? Because like if I could crank that out in a couple hours.
Yeah, you might be able to work out a deal. Like maybe they might say like you can't use any of the old characters, or maybe you could just use like McGill as a character, you know, like specifically, or that might be getting more into the weeds. Like if they just want to license a character for you.
Okay.
So that's something different if they don't want to sell the whole kit and caboodle to you.
So I think we should pick some characters that we want to license. I think McGill's a good one to do. Can you think of like examples of this where someone has like, you know, licensed a character or anything like those? I'm thinking about like books turning into movies, and a lot of times those aren't super expensive in some cases.
Because usually if there's like a spin-off of a minor character, it's already within the or like the company already owns the rights to it. You know, it's not usually changing hands. So it's, I don't know. I mean, the first thing that just popped in my mind is just how, you know, Fox had the rights to X-Men for forever. And that's why Marvel couldn't use it when it was bought by Disney. But now, you know, Disney bought Fox. So but that's not the same thing.
So if we buy Disney, we can do what we want.
Yeah, call Bob.
No, all we need to do is buy the unprofitable Disney Plus.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so,
or maybe you could join Disney Plus and try to save it.
Oh,
that sounds like a lot of work. I don't want to do it.
Well, we send an email and say, I know how to save streaming services, and you keep it vague. So you get a meeting and you say, well, I'll give you 3 of my ideas now. You hire me, you can get the other 7. And then, of course, most of this is just a ploy to get Mighty Ducks.
Yeah. Or you could come up with a really good season 3 pitch, because I'm sure the showrunners did pitch a season 3, because that usually is what happens. Like you pitch the idea for the following season, and then the, you know, execs decide if they want to renew it or not. So,
okay. What do you think is more likely in this scenario? We're able to outright purchase the rights or the licensing rights to future Ducks content, or one of us, probably me, becomes best friends with Josh Jackson, and we convince him to do season 3 with our pitch for season 3.
What is your pitch for season 3 for him?
I don't know. We don't know that yet. We have to come up with that.
And Joyce, we wouldn't tell you that because you would just steal it.
Why would I steal it? I have no interest in going to TV productions.
What if you give your own jersey though?
I mean, you know, that would spice it up, but I wouldn't betray you. So
I'm thinking that there's a character named Joyce in season 3 though, and you can play her.
Wow.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you. I'm fine with a cameo. I don't need like a supporting role.
Okay, so we'll write you into this.
Okay.
And I think that'll help because then you'll be invested in the project. So I think Disney bought Star Wars for like 4.5 billion. And so I'm thinking like $4.5 grand maybe for the Ducks.
4,500.
Hypothetically, Joyce, we send unsolicited email to Kathy Josh Goldsmith, is that it?
Yeah.
And say, here's our season 3 outline. What do you think? In the business, does that email ever get read?
Their assistant might read it.
Yeah.
So they might forward it to them.
And so Kevin, it's become friends with this assistant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Josh Jackson.
and Josh Jackson.
Yeah.
Josh Jackson was here on Monday promoting Fatal Attraction. So if that gets renewed for season 2, although I don't really know how, they're being vague. I love when networks are vague about whether a show is an ongoing series or a limited series, because they like to wait and see if the show is successful before they call it either one, so then they could decide for awards purposes. But anyway, if it's somehow renewed for season 2, he'll be busy.
Okay, so 3-step plan: become best friends with Josh Jackson, sabotage Fatal Attraction, and befriend the assistant.
Yes,
I think all 3 of those could be done like concurrently.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I'm going to be honest, I actually kind of like this as a standalone series where Kevin is trying to get a series back on TV.
Oh,
so he becomes friends
meta
with the star.
Yeah,
sabotages it, and then like falls in love with the assistant or something like that.
And we could do it. We could, since we don't have the rights to the Mighty Ducks name, we could do like they did in Always Sunny with what they kept calling him the Frenetic instead of the Fanatic because they couldn't say the Fanatic.
It's just the off-brand version.
Yeah. Okay, so again, back to the topic at hand. If we're trying to get these like minor characters, is that through ABC Signature Studios? Do we need to go like to Steve Brill and say, "Hey, Steve, let us license McGill out"? Who's the entity we need to go to say?
I would say Brill probably still has the rights because he created the character.
Okay.
So I don't know what his deal is. You might need to shoot him another email.
Right.
So he would, since he created these characters and the films, if this season 3 or whatever incarnation this takes, like he'll probably end up as an EP on it, which I'm sure is okay with you guys.
Right.
So, yeah. Even if he's not there for the day-to-day stuff. So, but like that's the credit he'll get because he created the characters.
Makes
Joyce, to make our season 3 or our Mighty Ducks pitch more like appealing to executive types, what's like a hot button right now? Does everyone say like, well, you got to have like, a talking dog in this to really get it off the floor, and we got to be able to sell toys.
Obviously, it's donkeys, right?
Oh, so
yeah, donkeys. That's in film right now. I mean, the hottest show on streaming right now is Wednesday.
So what if we call it Thursday?
Okay.
Are you going to think, which day would you rather go hang out? Thursday.
They
could think it's a sequel, like a spin-off series to Wednesday. So.
And that's Wednesday Addams, right?
Yes.
Right.
And so we should look to see how did Wednesday Addams be made? Was it like the people who had Addams Day or Addams Family, etc.? Like,
good point.
Yeah. So they, the funny thing about that show too is like it's basically a CW supernatural teen show using Addams Family IP. Like that's
so we could do that with the Ducks.
It's basically like Riverdale.
Yeah, we can do a Riverdale with Mighty Ducks. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, they're like, if you keep the Game Changers cast, like it's like the right age range, like teenagers.
So Wednesday, does it? I haven't watched. Apologies, we canceled Netflix. Go figure. I'm killing streaming. So, is there other Addams Family characters in that, or is it basically just Wednesday?
She's a central character. Catherine Zeta-Jones and Louise Guzman play her parents. They're only in like 2 episodes, but it's basically about her being an outcast in a school for outcasts, because
And so her parents, are they like Morticia and Gomez?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So it is those characters as well. Okay. Yeah. So we probably need like a couple ancillary characters. So if we wanted like, Coob, we might also need to get like, Coob's we never see. Parents,
like maybe it'll be best to try to license all of them if you just to have them in the pocket if you wanted to use them.
Then we can do our Checkmates spinoff at some point too.
Oh, that's a good point.
Actually, we could just license the Checkmates. They might give them.
Yeah. They weren't around for season 2.
Yeah,
they don't want them.
There's a kolache stop called the Check Stop, and so I think it's Checkmates buy the Check Stop and they run it, And
yeah,
then,
they're
like,
working at the truck stop. Yeah,
they end up in
the style of Clerks, but checks.
but they only speak Czech the whole time, and there's no subtitles.
Oh, geez. Okay.
That's also a kind of better, because that's also a testament to how good the writing and the acting is if you can still connect with the program if you don't actually understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A lot of good face acting.
Yeah.
I
A
feel like
a lot of physical comedy when they're like, "Oh, I burned the blintzes again," you know.
mhm. And the awards people, they love, foreign films and stuff like that, like hoity-toity stuff. So I this is good.
And we'll have some scenes in black and white.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, very artsy. Lock for cinematography, obviously.
And you got to have them like stepping into shadows or whatever, and then like the shadows only on half his face, and so it's like, oh, he's thinking about like, angel and devil.
Nice.
I like how when Tommy did that, that's literally what his face did.
Yeah, that was good.
He planned it that way. So.
Okay.
Exactly.
One other question, and this might be beyond your purview. In terms of the merchandise, like, is that a realistic thing to license or get them to license to us? Like the D5 logo, the Hawks logo, the Minnehaha waves, like that kind of stuff. Is that possible? Do you think Brill or Disney or whoever would do it? Who should we talk to?
And Mike, to confirm, like, license it to us, we make new merchandise, we cut them in on the deal.
Correct. Yeah, we'll give them a cut.
Yeah. I think that's inferred, right? That they would profit in some way from it.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know how well Ducks gear sells. So, and I don't know how much like the Anaheim Ducks or the NHL would need to be involved too. So, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess it's just another negotiation, another step.
Well, we know at least 50 people that will buy them. So,
that's true. Yeah.
So that's
and they'll buy them as gifts too. So
yeah.
50 times 2, whatever that is.
100 people,
So here's my question for you.
Okay.
So many people, so many of the Quackalites were so disappointed by the fake out Spear of the Ducks Part 2. No OG Ducks. I think I understand why they didn't do that. Like, they just had the Bash Brothers cameos in the premiere. I think they really, again, wanted to establish themselves as its own entity, like away from the films and the original cast and stuff. But I don't blame fans for expecting the OG Ducks to come back, especially with season 1. And then also just using the same title again. Like, if you called it a different thing, maybe people wouldn't expect that.
Right.
So how much will you dip into that well for season 3? Like recruiting the old Ducks.
The OG Ducks?
Yeah.
I mean, I like, there's a tried and true like example of how to do this, and it's Cobra Kai. Like, I think there's, you can do this in a very tasteful way and move the plot.
Yeah, but I think in Cobra Kai's case, like they're a show that actually wants to embrace the nostalgia, and I think Game Changers did not.
Well, I think that's what we're getting. I think we would want to. I mean, I don't think. I think it's pretty obvious that the other way didn't work.
So I think season 3
far enough, but.
Season 3, you're definitely you use the OG Ducks, and basically what you do is you have Nick and Evan, essentially Quantum Leap style, that each episode they find an old OG Duck, see what they're doing, and they help them out, kind of like an angel or something.
Oh, okay.
And so you have 10 episodes, and then episode 1 they're helping Goldberg run the deli. Episode 2, Averman's limo business is kind of like down on its luck, and it's all going to culminate for like episode 10, where they go to Bombay and they like bring him back. And then season 4 is back to Bombay coaching the Ducks.
Season 4, they play hockey again.
Yeah, no hockey.
Okay, we didn't even talk about the lack of hockey. I guess that's fitting because they play no hockey this season. Yeah. I did talk to someone involved with the show who was also disappointed by the lack of hockey.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So, yeah.
And like Josh Duhamel's like a good athlete. You'd
I
think,
know he can actually skate and
Yeah.
he played hockey, unlike Emilio. I actually had, because they sent screeners for the first 4 episodes, and I was like, I don't mind these changes. Like, they were forced changes, and I was into what they were setting up. But then it was just a lot of more table setting in the middle episodes. And then it was like, you're not playing anything, like any games. And then they cram so much stuff into the finale. So
do they think they spent all their money on like those water guns? And they're just like, oh my God, we got no money left for anything.
Or maybe on like that huge box of candy. I don't know.
Yeah. And actually all the kids ate it on set. And they're just like, we rented that. We have to give it back. You just ate our budget.
That's where the money went. So
yeah.
All right. Well, we've gone way over time. Any bombs you want to drop on us that we haven't discussed so far?
I don't know how much more I can say.
Fair enough.
But I don't think anything we talked about was super shocking.
Right.
So I think it's better not to expect a season 3. And then if it happens, it'll feel good. But I don't think it will.
Do you agree that the only way a season 3 happens is if Bombay or Josh Jackson are like, sure, we'll do it?
Maybe, but I also don't know if it's a priority for Disney to save the show. Like they might just like quietly cancel, and maybe like a couple years down the line they'll be like, oh, we need more content. Call up Josh and Emilio, are you interested?
What? So assuming season 3 doesn't happen, what do you think is more likely? Another show or like a movie?
Make it D4.
I would say a movie probably, because that's just like in and out, 90 minutes.
Interesting. Yeah. Do you think that is a realistic scenario where like they say it's canceled? Because like me taking it as canceled as it's done like forever. Do you think that's a like what percentage chance, if it is indeed canceled, would you give to it 3, 4, 5 years down the line where somebody tries to come back to it?
As a show, I think it could definitely be resurrected down the line as a show somehow. Because I think like Brill and like the producers involved, like over the years, they've been trying to do something with it anyway. And then, luckily Disney Plus was launched, or it was being launched. And then they were just investing in their existing IP. So this happened. So I don't know if it would have happened without Disney Plus. So I think they lucked out that way. And now they have these 2 seasons in, and they have bigger fish to fry. So this is not a priority for them. So I could see maybe if they're in like a better stage, like 3 or 4 years from now, they might want to come back to it. Or, I do know like there's been over the years like lots of pitches for a D4, but I don't even know what a D4 would look like since all the OG ducks are old.
Yeah.
Hey, we already wrote the script for that one pretty much.
Yeah,
I know,
we've got plenty. I mean, if anyone says like, I'm not sure what it looked like, if like some like, executive type, it's like, please, we've got 300 episodes. We've got plenty of ideas.
They could just do McKill. So
we got 5 written basically.
Yeah, we can recast.
Very low budget too.
That's true. Yeah, horror movies.
We only go to space in one of them.
Only go to space once.
The thing that they should do is like if it's canceled, they should just announce like a wrap-up movie that sometimes have happened,
Like the Mighty Ducks go to Japan.
Yeah, like that happened to Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, the show that Lauren Graham had to leave for Game Changers. But it was canceled, and they got a wrap-up movie. It was like a Christmas movie.
Right. I would be down for that. Like, I feel like there's not enough closure, even though they set up that season 2 and everything to be the end. I do feel like there's not enough closure. So maybe we get that.
They film it in 2 years when they're going to college. I gave my college pitch because Brady Noon's going to play volleyball.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They stopped playing hockey. Brady Noon plays college volleyball. Nick goes to become a journalist at the student paper. Sophie actually does play hockey in college, and basically Nick has to. It's a journalism ethics movie, and
all
Coop's there
about that.
too.
I love a journalism procedural. So
Exactly, and kids love it too. So
yeah, you know, there's a lot of false information out there on the internet. I don't know if you're aware of that. So yeah, we need to bring cold hard facts back.
There you go.
We need to undo all the damage that Rory did in Gilmore Girls.
That is poor representation of journalism in media.
There you go. Yeah, this could be educational for the youth. I'm behind this.
Hey, and Spotlight won, Best Picture.
Best Picture, yeah.
All the President's Men won Best Picture.
Mm-hmm. This year there's a She Said, which is probably not gonna get in, but that's also a great journalism procedural.
And it's a good book too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right.
Read the book.
There
folks.
You go. You don't have Game Changers on. Start reading some books. There you go. Thank you so much to Joyce, who's gone way over time. We appreciate you, Joyce. Again, Gold Derby, goldderby.com, at Joyce Eng 61 on Twitter. Just the tweets are incredible, especially around award season when I don't know what's happening. I just go to Joyce to figure out everything. For us, thequackdeck.com, go there, contact us. Give us your ideas for how to make this happen. Like, I do think the Ducks gear is the first step. If we can get the Ducks gear, I think we're onto something.
Maybe, yeah.
What if it was if we say Game Changer specific gear and that when we design it out first?
Maybe, yeah. Because I think that's like the lowest hanging fruit. I think that's the one that they might be more willing to let go of.
And they clearly put no thought into those team names, so
yeah.
Okay.
You should, maybe get the rights to intention.
Well, what is
or
that?
Accountability.
Yeah.
Oh, the team. Okay. I thought there was like a industry term that was rights to intention. And
we're just going to license accountability, like in general.
Just a word. Yeah.
Nice. And then we get like 1 cent every time someone is accountable. I'll take that. Yeah. All right. Anyway, thequackdeck.com. Go there. Contact us at QuackDeckPod on Twitter. Facebook.com/QuackDeckPod. Go there. Go anywhere you listen to podcasts. Give us 5 stars. Thanks to all our producers. I believe Mary, still the most recent producer. We appreciate you, Mary. And thanks to Joyce. And remember, Ducks fly together.
Ducks fly together.
Quack, quack.